I feel that the number one thing that we can do is always stay true to the things that bring us happiness and joy. And so as long as we're continuously allowing that joy to deploy, then we witness those skills and those talents expand as well.
What would you say infinitely brings you happiness and joy?
Play. The multitude of ways that we can play. I feel that it's oftentimes that we forget about the precious innocence in play. And when we come back to that precious innocence of being able to connect in a way that is joyous and brings out our full luster and brings us back to that presence that allows there to be no, preconceived notion or expectation, it's just complete and utter happiness in doing something that we enjoy, then that's the luster. That's what keeps me coming back to always learning and sharing yoga and acro yoga and, really just tapping into the beauty of life.
I'm Jeff Scult. I have been on a healing and revealing journey, following my thread to my inner gold. My great honor in life is to sit with the golden ones and discover what they've released in terms of their past stuck stories, what they've revealed in terms of who they are anew, and within that, how we can each celebrate the art of living life golden. Welcome to Drops of Gold.
We welcome to this episode of Drops of Gold Andrew Seven Seeley, a globally recognized yogi, artist, movement creator, and connection catalyst known for his transformative teachings. The focus, which is always on self-love, embodied purpose, and personal growth. He has a creative approach to yoga as healing art that has made him a sought-after leader in wellness, guiding celebrity clients, teaching conscious music festivals, and leading transformational retreats around the world. We will also go on a deep dive in terms of his roots of being raised in a reggae shop. And Andrew opens up about the power of movement and breath, sharing how these practices can reduce stress, unlock creativity, and reconnect us to our truest selves. He also takes us on his latest chapter, which is being a newly invigorated chocolatier cacao master with his Costa Rican farm and what he's bringing to the world. So excited for you to experience Andrew Seven Seeley, one of the wonders of the world. Welcome to Drops of Gold.
It's interesting, you brought up about coming back to play. I believe in the hero's journey, and I also believe that everybody gets to define what their hero's journey look like. Do you feel in your life that you've actually ever lost the luster of the sense of play? Because I asked that question for a very specific reason, and I'll share with you why after you answer that.
I would say that there was a time where I did find it difficult to play, and it was a time when I was overwhelmed with school. I was in a fraternity. I was just in a space where I was still discovering really what was my expression of full Andrew Seeley, my fullest expression of who I am and what I'm here to do. It was, I would say, during the time that I was beginning to find my passion of yoga and beginning to really discover my awareness of myself, who I am, what I'm here to do, my purpose in this place and time. And I feel that during those initial phases, there was a lot of distractions and, as I said, fraternity life and school, studying microbiology and being, in a space where there was a lot of competition. And I felt like I had to really push myself to be something that I wasn't actually feeling fully in alignment with. And during that time is when I really dove deep into yoga, and from that is when my desire to express play and to share play became even more resonant. Yes.
An infinite press play on play, right? I am so honored to have you on Drops of Gold.
Thank
I
you.
have seen you for years, and I'm getting to know you over the last 86 hours in person.
Yes.
To be introduced to you in person with movement by you christening the oasis with one golden thread, by meeting your mother at the same moment that I met you, and get to see the legacy of a generation. And then to come into today and be truly flown for the first time and understand what that version of freedom looks like. I mean, you truly are a connection catalyst, a movement maker. We're looking forward to going on your yogi adventure.
Yeah.
And, there's something else about you that I'm looking forward to discovering. Because there's something that is so salient in all of our lives, which is how do we obliterate the linearity of our thinking. And you mentioned a word earlier on today that means a lot to me, which is synesthesia. And this man is also a savant of synesthesia, of obliterating senses and activating something new. So, Andrew Seeley, welcome on Drops of Gold.
Thank you for having me on Drops of Gold. It's a blessing to be here. And I feel that the connection is true, and thus we have this opportunity to see one another as a divine reflection and view. And so thank you for being you and for reaching out and having the opportunity to bring me on your wonderful podcast.
Well, we get to flow and see where it goes, and ashe all day and all the things, because this man, among other things, is also poetic prose. And I'd like to go back to the, I like to really dive into, like, not where were you born, but where were you formed to be this version that we're seeing in this incarnation. And what was there a catalyst or a crystallist moment that jettisoned you into being this version of you for an infinite amount of time?
That is such a deep and unique question. Where was I formed? I would say that the essence of my being was incarnate from stardust and sparked into the wonder of my dad, who had a deep attraction for my mother. And my dad is a Rasta man with dreadlocks down to his back, and my mom, being from Barbados, my grandfather is an incredible dancer, went on tour with Michael Jackson, and just like this spark of showmanship was invested into her, and this deep sense of value, self-value and self-worth. And so I feel that in my mom and my father coming together, that is where I began to form. And I would say I'm a wonderful combination of the two. And they both have their magic and their skills and their beautiful sentiments and their luster. And I feel that, I am the only child, actually, of my mom and my dad. I have two half-sisters from my mom and two half-sisters and one half-brother from my father. But I'm the eldest of all the children and the only of my mom and my dad. So it's a very unique space to be, and I feel that I'm literally one of a kind. And so, came for a limited time, January 30th of 1999. Not just kidding, 1990. But it did rhyme.
It did. And what would you? I've met your mother, so I have my own. But tell me about, like, what do you admire within your father? What do you admire in your mother? And then what do you admire as the golden thread that connects both of them to you?
Oh, wow. Taking it deep. I love this. My mom is my all-time biggest supporter, most incredible, just uplifting, empowering mom. So just dedicated to allowing me to discover what it felt like to be myself and encourage me to be myself. And in a way that was very empowering from a young age. My mom had me when she was 21 years old, so she was at the time still discovering her youth and her, desires, and so it was very much so that my early years growing up, I remember, were very, easiest way to put it is unconventional. I grew up in a reggae shop, in between Barbados and La Jolla, San Diego. And I grew up listening to, Bob Marley, Jimmy Cliff, King Tubby, the Wailers, I'm talking Capleton, Sizzla, Buju Banton, reggae, deep-hearted reggae. And so I'm originally from Barbados, and just having this upbringing of being in a reggae store and, being around cannabis from an early age, and really having a deep sense of connection to the Rastafarian culture as well. I had dreadlocks down to my back up until I was 17 years old. And so it really, I would say, had a deep form of connection to not only spirituality, but also spirituality that wasn't the regular or norm of spirituality. It wasn't the, religion that you hear about in your school books, or that you even, hear about some of your friends being Rastafarian. I had no Rastafarian friends growing up. Maybe some of my dad's friends from the shop, or maybe, a few friends that were kids of other reggae stars growing up. And so that was essentially being a black sheep from the day that I was born. The easiest way that I could put it. And so it was like I never really had to stand out. I already did stand out. I was like the only African American kid at the majority of my schools, in the majority of my classes, always the token black kid, getting the good grades, being different, and standing out. And so I just kind of accepted it as such. And, it wasn't any different when I got into wellness, yoga, higher academia, or any of the other things that I tend to be a part of.
Before we go forward, I want to go deeper into this visual of somebody who loves reggae to be raised in a reggae store.
Yeah.
Take us around the texture of that store. Because does that mean like that there was a reggae store and you guys had a room in the back, and that your living room was the vinyl?
I mean, I put it this way. I remember waking up,
which is the dopest thought in the world for somebody who loves vinyl. Like if your living room is basically coming out, and take us on that journey.
So essentially, this is Irie Nation over in San Diego in La Jolla, which is a really cool beach town area. Super, epic surf culture, just down to earth, really good vibes. My dad and my mom had opened this record store, and my dad, his brother, Ishmael the Peacemaker, was an incredible drummer. And my dad was also loved playing instruments, everything from, guitar, drum, and everything. Yeah. And my mom was a backup singer. She backup sang for Rocky Dauni, who's a really incredible reggae artist. Wow. To this day. Ghanaian artist, has incredible singing, like Grammy nominated and all that jazz. Incredible. Goes to the UN and gives peace talks, and he's incredible. So long story short, I grew up riding my bike in front of the record store around this really incredible brick container where there was this beautiful ficus tree. And I remember just the big ficus tree, and riding my bike with my friend Justin, and just having, just kid time, and then going inside the record store and, listening to some King Tubby or some Steel Pulse, roller skates, just jamming, or Chanta Samade. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So many great songs, so much great music. I remember from my upbringing, even Gregory Isaac, Night Nurse. Just like, oh my goodness. And that essence was, incense, and you can smell just the deep incense from, whether it was the Nag Champa or the frankincense and myrrh, and just hearing my dad, tell me about stories of, Christ and frankincense and myrrh and the three kings and all this jazz. And I grew up on that. That was my my dreadlock Rasta dad talking about Nyabingis and diving deep into the lineage of this Rastafarian culture. So yeah, lots of reggae, and even Israel vibrations, the back in the day, and these are Alpha Blondie, Black Uhuru, like lots of roots reggae in my blood. So that's what I grew up on, a whole different perspective of life and this culture of people who came from these islands, took us away from Africa, captivity. And so like learning about slavery through that perspective, learning about the Black history through the perspective of the islanders, because I myself am West Indian, and I think that's kind of also very interesting, because we're growing up on even Trinidadian food, having patties and all these different curries and brown stew rice. My grandpa would be cooking the most incredible food, with dunks and coconut bread and all types of really incredible traditional food. And that just brought me into that, being fully immersed and steeped in that culture. And now I practice yoga, West Indian. And, it's very interesting how these things work.
Wow.
The rishis and the rastas. Just saying.
Have you ever done a retreat or a workshop or classes where it's all like Steel Pulse and it's all like Bob Marley, it's all Jimmy Cliff? I'd be so into a movement class like that. That would be so fire.
I've got you. Have you
done that?
I've done a few classes that have been what I would call West Indian themed, but it's been mostly like, like coffee and like a little bit of Stephen Marley, and I'll sprinkle in a little bit of Steel Pulse in there too. But I need to do like a roots reggae, like more of like the roots, and I would put in some Black Uhuru for sure.
Well, and the way what I loved about your yoga class, I mean, our mutual homie, I think Janet Stone, and like so many of these people, like you're within the movement. There's wisdom that's flowing, and within the music, there's wisdom that's flowing. We just watched again my favorite documentary, Searching for Sugar Man. I know it's not reggae, but it's like so beautiful in terms of the power, the potency of how music can actually set an architecture. Did you ever play with music as a modality, singing?
I have not gotten deep into singing or expressing through what I would call spoken word. I do write a ton of poetry, and I absolutely love sharing poetry. But I was even talking to my great friend Black, who's a incredible, rapper, singer, and he was like, man, like you got to start, putting some of these to some tracks. And I'm like, huh? It could happen. There's still multiple evolutions of Andrew Seven Seeley that we have yet to discover. So I'm still open to all the many possibilities, but my focus is really on sharing yoga and cacao right now.
We'll talk about the cacao piece. Talk about the seven. What's the seven?
The seven wonders of the world, the seven chakras, the seven notes in music, the 7 days in the week, the seven original planets. I mean, seven can go on and on if we really tap into the depth of awareness that is, the 7 points of how we tend to move through time and space with a deeper sense of power and grace.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there we go. There we go, the flow. I want to show you something, because it was like, the reason I asked the question about were you always this version of yourself?
What you got there? Where'd you get this photo, man?
This is candy.
Oh, my mom.
Marvelous Marva.
Mama. Oh, wow. Wow, man, that is definitely a picture of me back in the day. Wow, that must be like I'm like probably like 4 or 5 maybe. Wow. Yeah, that's me. I mean, not much has changed.
and that's where I want to go with this, which is this notion around self-love and inner child. I see Andrew Seven Seeley right here, and I see him right here, and that's why I ask about your hero's journey. Like you've, without knowing the fullness of your journey, I feel like you never left your inner child.
I
And
would have to agree.
And so, for those that are listening, and with a deep sense of yearning, and a deep sense of like, that's coming back into that, and realizing that child is our greatest sense of play, is our greatest sense of joy, and we can access that at any time. Talk about the access points of how do we access that with precision, purpose, love, grace, in an infinite way.
Sat Chit Ananda. So the real truth of the beauty of this super conscious mind that brings us to a deeper state of joy. And I feel that we all have that inherent in our being. That is our soul's essence. And when we become even more clear vessels, then our soul can speak through in all that we do. And thus that pure joy is limitless. It doesn't have an age. It doesn't have a color. It has no specific form. It is just inherent within our being. And the more that we allow ourselves this time and the space for being, the more we allow that joy freeing. And that's really my goal, purpose, passion in life, is really helping to free that joy so that that joy can express itself in the many ways that it comes to be in this physical form, in this time and space. And so that's what I'm here for.
Well, and I love it. And there's so many different access points. And what are the access points that you feel are most powerful for us to tap back to that?
Totally.
Number one, when we forget. And number two, to put into a daily practice.
Number one, meditation. I feel that meditation is the key to really tapping into that sense of realization that we are all a divine part of this creation. And each one of us has our own completely exclusive space to be able to express our truth and our, what I would call, unique correspondence to this relationship of the universe. It's like we all have a key that is set to unlock a special space within this universe. And mine may be joy, and your may be, creating the most incredible threads that we can all wear and have a deep connection with, and reminding us about the wisdom in the cloth that we wear. And so I feel that, meditation is number one, for me at least. Tapping into that void and really reinvigorating that light and becoming more attuned to that light. Because when we become more attuned to it, then we can shine through, and it just literally expands with effervescence without us actually having to push or pull, or what I would call overly desire.
Yeah.
It's definitely there. Like it's an inspiration, and that inspiration is already ready to be shared. Number two for me is movement. Movement is a opportunity for me to tap into a deeper sense of presence as I move through space. And we're all moving through space, whether we're sitting still, as we are sitting still in the physical cosmos of our beautiful being that is this physical form of molecules and a multitude of cells and organ bodies and all that jazz. It's like we are literally hurtling hundreds of thousands of miles through space. Yeah, and so it's just the cosmos are constantly moving, and so moving our bodies in a way that can help us to be able to really resonate to the vibrational frequency that we're meant to actually exude within this time and space, allows us to shine. And that's our passion. That's, whether it's making the most incredible donut or creating the most magical poem or, sharing the most beautiful music. And for me, it's movement, really just helping people tune into a deeper sense of awareness of how their body can move through space, and doing it from a deep space of embodiment myself to inspire movement.
Yeah.
So meditation, movement, and music, the 3 M's, and lots of things that bring you back to
Things that make you go,
mangoes.
Mangoes, yeah.
This is the mango monk is what you called it?
Sure. Like terracotta, but I think it's mango monk, actually. Yeah, you look fly as fuck on the threads, I gotta tell you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for
definitely-
providing the extra fly threads. Gotta.
So I want to unpack something that, regarding meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And let's assume that an antediluvian Neanderthal caveman cruised out of his cave. He's 1,000 years old, but he's, flies fuck ready to go. And you were to explain how to drop into meditation, to somebody who's never really cracked the code on a meditation practice, whose mind is monkey, and whose presence is ephemeral. How do you teach meditation to somebody to drop in? And obviously, there's many different ways to do it, but I'd love to hear from your perspective. What is the how-to for meditation?
I would say, if I saw this incredible Neanderthal walk out of the cave, 1,000-year-old Neanderthal, wow, like this guy's probably got some meditation down to a cue by now. But assuming that he may not know how to meditate in a way that I could describe as my own meditation, I would help to guide him to a deeper awareness of what I was feeling through perhaps doing a nice little breath activation with him. And just assuming that we don't even speak the same language, I would just give him a hug and breathe with him. And then I would sit with him back to back and really breathe, like press the spine against each other, feel the spine fully align, and then it all comes back to breath. And I feel that the breath is literally the key to really feeling what it is to be free. And meditation is that step towards freedom. Pure samadhi. Unabashed bliss. Completely untethered nirvana. Effervescent joy. Supreme solitude. Yeah, and I feel that comes from allowing your body, your mind, and your spirit to come to a complete space of balanced awareness. And you can feel it, and I can feel it, and I feel that everyone out there can feel it. And when you have the opportunity to tap into that space, that's really something that is very profound. And it's like tasting a mango for your first time. You cannot deny that taste. And I can describe it to you in words, but the only way for you to truly experience it is to taste it yourself.
Yeah. Thanks for the visual and the simplicity, that it's not about necessarily guided words. It's around it's around a surrender into breath. And I really appreciated that when we were flying and you went to the breath in your yoga class. You went to the breath. And there was something that you said in yoga that was so powerful. I felt compelled to write it down. You said two things about breath. You said where your breath goes, energy glows. And look, words are just words, but when words give you a synesthetic sense of like something that actually lands, like, oh, I get it. It's not just your energy goes there, but that's where it glows. That makes sense to me. It's like you're expansive, and that's your ability to give yourself expansive vision to glow and to grow and to go into that deeper there. And then I really appreciated you also said, allow your breath to allow you to choose direction. What did you mean by that?
Well, if we think of it, where your breath goes, your energy glows. We are light. So if we are choosing a direction, then that is where we are illuminating our awareness into. We are bringing presence to that point. We are becoming even more awakened by the light that shines into that space. And so we have the opportunity with our minds, with this consciousness, to truly direct our will, our intention, our thought process. And that is the spark that then illuminates that space and then allows us to dive deeper into that space. Because as things become illumined, that's when we can truly discover what perhaps was in the darkness before.
What's an example for you of something that was illumined of recent? Because we're constantly getting ourselves to grow and within there something new to glow. What's new for you?
I would say the depth of taste that we can have when it comes especially to chocolate. Chocolate has been blowing my mind lately.
So are we talking chocolate or are we talking about cacao?
I mean,
because we can go, let's go on a cacao journey.
Let's go on a cacao journey, man. I feel that lately cacao has been really revealing herself to me and giving me new experiences of taste. And I love adaptogens and tea and matcha, and I'm gluten-free donuts and mangoes and jackfruits and pedali and mangosteens and cherries and pluots, and I love fruit, and I absolutely love taste. I feel like taste is, people always ask like, what is the one sense that, you would give away? I'm like, I'll give away a lot of senses before I give away my sense of taste. I feel that it's so incredible to be able to, witness how so many different things can taste different. Even you try one strawberry and then you try one that's right next to it off of the same bush and it tastes different, all based upon the lighting, the amount of water that it intook, the amount of leaves that were covered over it, or how close it was to the ground. There's so many different variables, and taste for me is just one of those. It's an indulgence that I have really continued to dive deeper into on a daily basis, especially with cacao, because cacao, there are so many species of cacao similar to apples. And just like if you were to make apple juice from a Granny Smith apple, that would be completely different than apple juice that you would make from a Pink Lady apple, right? And so you've got these two completely different apples and they're going to make different juice. Same thing with cacao. You have two different strains of cacao that are going to make completely different chocolate. And chocolate is a art. And I've just begun to step my foot into the space of becoming a chocolatier. A novice chocolatier, but I would say just like anything I do it to the best of my ability.
Yes, you do. So, where are you on your cacao journey? Because I know that there's a cacao farm happening in
Yes.
Costa Rica.
Yes.
And are you intending to make a specific Andrew Seeley 7 cacao? Like, where are we going on this journey, or is it yet to be revealed?
It will be revealed sooner than later. Who knows? 8/8 could be a very special date.
There you go.
So essentially, I have been making chocolate with some really incredible chocolate makers in Costa Rica, who I'm learning from, Paulo and Adriana. And we're really just diving deep into the different taste profiles that we can create with the cacao that I have from my farm, based on the drying practices, the sun drying that we do, the dehydration instead of just roasting. And there's a lot of very beautiful ways that you can really capture the most amount of nutrients while at the same time getting the most pungent and full tastes. And really just bringing out some notes that perhaps may not have been heard before. And so that's what I'm excited about doing right now. And I feel like we should have a piece of chocolate.
Giddy up, Buttercup. Whoa. Look at this packaging.
So I'm all about the gradient. I feel that the beauty of the cacao is that it comes from the earth, which is green, and then really just gets you into this deep purple.
Wow.
Cacao, Theobroma, is the food of the gods. So if we think about the most high royalty, purple, that's the pure essence of the highest chakra. And cacao is, it's a crown chakra activator, to say the least.
And that color purple is fire.
I love
purple?
I love purple. Purple's my favorite color.
All right, we're a purple collection's in the works.
And this, as you can see, is a pod of cacao on there.
Oh, wow.
And that's the way to taste it first, is always to smell. I always say that our sense of smell is what palpates the taste buds. So it gets your taste buds ready to receive the beauty of what is in store. Cheers.
Cheers.
I want you to be as honest as you can. How incredible is this chocolate?
It's like a river cloud. It hit and it just stayed with integrity. Just floating like a whisper. I really enjoy also giving ourselves the space and the grace when we taste to actually take the time to taste. Because oftentimes it's not the first taste, it's the second, it's the third, it's the finish. And so, thanks for the indulging. Just chilling with us for a minute. Yeah.
I want everyone to have this experience.
I want everyone to have that experience as well, as the metaphor for life of living, breathing, receiving, giving, sharing love with just integrity and joy, and that you understand the source.
Mm-hmm.
You understand from where it comes from. You feel like you're interbeing with Earth,
Yes.
as opposed to extracting from it or synthesizing away from it. Syntheticizing, perhaps, would be the truest truth. And we know that with food, and we've seen it with the food revolution. We've known it with thoughts, and we've seen it with the consciousness revolution. And we're now seeing it with clothing.
Mm-hmm.
There's an awakening around. We have 4 million sensors on our skin, and I didn't realize that clothes were closing me off from feeling. And that's why I like this notion around synesthesia is so powerful. It's just to say, like, how do we enliven senses around integrity that obliterate and just become something where you're just like, wow, this feels like I'm wearing chocolate or I'm tasting.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. I mean, I feel that the most important thing that we can do is give people the experience of what it feels like to feel good. Because it's so imperative now more than ever to bring people back to their senses. The senses are your first experience of the universe around you. If your senses are blocked, hindered, depressed, or at all separate, then there's no real awareness of the reality that is around you. And I feel that right now more than ever, people have become desensitized from what it is to connect, not only to one another as humans, but also to the plants that have helped us to become the humans that we are today. And I feel that whether it's food, whether it's clothing, whether it's movement, whether it's design, architecture, it all is inherently an opportunity for us to reconnect to nature. And our inherent nature is always the direct representation of our external nature. So if we are more attuned to our own senses, to our own sense of awareness as to how we interact with the world around us, and to how we interact with the world within us, then we can truly begin to have a more expansive, palpable, sensational lifestyle. And that's really what I'm looking for. That's not only what I'm looking for, that's what I'm embodying. That's what I'm sharing. That's what I'm gifting. That's what I'm living, because this is the life to live. The life that is full with sensation, full with absolute moments of pure presence, pure integrity in the way that we eat, the way that we breathe, the way that we be. And I feel that it really comes down to what we consume, what we're putting inside of our bodies, what we're putting on our bodies, how we choose to direct our energy in the way that we actually interact with the plants that have allowed us the opportunity to be the beings that we are today. And now more than ever, we got to reconnect to the plants, reconnect to the spirits that help us to proliferate where we are here and now.
I'm going to read to you something that
Do You write poetry too? You got a poem for me?
Something like that. I'm going to read something that was written. The greatest cause of disease is misuse of our senses.
Mm.
Do you know who wrote that?
No, I maybe is it Hippocrates?
Does that look familiar to you?
That's my journal. You've been texting my mom. Oh my goodness!
I asked her to send me something. She sent me something.
Wow.
She sent me one page.
It's pretty wild because I have some journals. I write pretty nonstop, and I have a bunch of journals that are at the house that I've been like, where is that journal?
She's just such a blessing.
Wow.
She's just such a blessing. She sent me that one page, and I just really appreciated that.
I write a lot of poetry, and honestly, like, I would love to make a book. I'm like, I cannot just, leave it in journals. Although I'm sure that, at some point in time, it'll get to the right person who needs to hear it. But I really, that's a project that needs to be done.
It's considered done. I feel like Garen Jones is in the room, and Garen's like, what are you committing to that's audacious, that's going to happen in the next 12 months? We heard it here first on Drops of Gold. Andrew Seven Seeley has written his book. Do we know the name? There it is right there. So
Whispers in Thought.
What I love that's so powerful within this this little pocket right here that really feels like it's the theme of the magic of the moment that we get to make and create is this notion around coming back to our senses. And what I'm realizing and what I'm receiving from you is, first of all, the self-awareness of what is happening when we are out of our sense, out of our integrity, versus coming back, having our senses. So it starts with self-awareness.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Beyond that, though, what I really appreciated that your life's mission is to allow people to see, feel, and embody what does it mean to feel good.
Yes. Yes. Because that's a definition that only you can describe for you. Your awareness of what feels good for you may be similar to what feels good for me, but is going to be completely made by your past experiences, made by your taste, made by your upbringing, made by your experience of what is happy, joy, love, magic, brilliance to you. And I think that's really the essence of what needs to speak through in everyone is their own individual experience of what feels good for them.
And what happens when that happens, that everybody gets to speak into their highest vibrational truth? What happens when that happens?
That is full harmony. That is when every instrument is playing the tune so beautifully, so perfectly, so absolutely elegantly that it just all comes together as a divine symphony. And that's the you in verse, the universe.
That right there might be the golden mic drop. So as my co-spirator at this moment in the podcast, what is the sound of the golden mic drop? Andrew Seven Seeley. I heard a bird. I heard a Seven Seeley bird.
That was it. That was the mic drop.
That's amazing. That's so powerful.
That's the highest pitch that I can go.
That is so powerful. Wow. What would you like to speak to? What's feeling into the energy field for you? It could be a blessing, it could be a question, it could be a lift, it could be a gift, it could be a poem, it could be anything that feels like it's coming through for you.
Yeah, it's a question to our viewers, our listeners, to our co-conspirators, to our community, is really, how do we create more safe space for people to come together and to experience what it is to come back to our highest awareness of being? And I really feel that it's needed more now than ever. So many of my artist friends, my healer friends, my singer friends have really come to the point where it feels like humanity is losing its senses. And I feel that it's our calling now more than ever to come to a space where we can really have a collective vision on how we can create more harmony, how we can bring the universe back into harmony, how we can really witness one another be reinvigorated, re-amplified, and uplifted to our highest sense of being, and to our true calling, which I feel is to step up to the plate right here, right now, and to truly share our most divine art, the timeless art, the truth of our essence, to really be in true honorance of Mother Earth and of the divine magic of the heavens. And it's needed more now than ever. And I'm like, my goal is to create safe space for it to occur more than ever, because what we're seeing around the world right now needs those wisdom keepers, those artists, those magicians, those witches, those wizards, fairies, thought leaders, philanthropists. Everyone needs to come together right now and to really collectively come together to create a regeneration plan for the next 10 years. Because we're looking at, we're plain and simple living in the 6th largest extinction of species as we know it. And I don't want that to be part of my history that I'm writing. And I know that I can do better. And I know that I can inspire others to uplift to their highest sense of being, so that we all know that we're giving our best and that we're all truly in alignment with our true heart's purpose, and that we can move forward in that knowing and in that optimism that when we do all step up to the plate and do our best and are educated in the reality of what's going on and have our senses polished so that we can receive the information that is being shared with us, then we can move forward together. Because I really feel it needs to happen now more than ever.
And how do we do that in such a way where we're not just talking to our inner circle selves, that we create easy on-ramps for self-enroll for others who maybe don't know how to, because they don't have the access, or they're not in the circle, or they're not in the yoga class, and they don't have the community and what have you, and yet they want to, and yet it feels overwhelming. And so how do we invite the broader collective? And I don't think, and one thing I'll just offer into the field is I think that one of the things that can be as disenabling or disempowering as it is presumably empowering is to call it a collective, because that suggests something else, somebody else is outside the collective. And I have this take on oneness that it's not about like everyone, it's around every one by one. It's different when it's like when you see that you can step forward and you can take a first step. And, I went on a human experiment mission in 2016, which is, my dad didn't know what I was doing. I walked away from a company that I co-owned, and I went around the world with golden threads, and I did a spoken word piece, which I called my Humanifesto, which was my floetic prose around all the lies in disguise that I had obliterated in my mind's eye. And I tied golden threads on people's wrists the way I did to you the other day. And I asked every single person the same question. What does it mean to you to live life golden? And I get emotional thinking about like all the thousands and thousands and thousands of people I've asked that question to. And the reason I'm emotional is that every single person revealed something about themselves, and no two people ever revealed it in the same way. And everybody deserves to be seen, valued, and heard. The throat chakra, for me, was what I discovered. If that shut down, everything shut down. And to be expressed. And so this social experiment continues to be the blessing that we get to invite people into the conversation of their own connection with whatever their vibrational truth is. And like you said, I'm not here to tell you what feels good. I'm simply here to give you a portal of possibility for you to feel what feels good for you. So I would ask you that question, which is, how do we have this be like this easy on-ramp for self-enroll? And I'll just share maybe by way of one other inquiry, which is for the first 4 years of One Golden Thread, it was literally like pushing a stone up a hill, and I was so focused on talking about the problem, the plight of fashion and the polluting of humanity and the planet and all the things, and that we need to be better and it's sustainable and what have you. And I realized two things. One is sustainability is a greenwash box that we just get to obliterate, and it's all about regenerosity, because that's something you can measure and model.
Regenerosity, I love that term. That is.
And secondly, for those who've been following Drops of Gold, you've heard the story, but I'll share it one time, as maybe it's new for Andrew, is maybe some of you as well, which is the most powerful lesson I learned about anybody who wants to do anything benevolent in business. I learned when I was in second grade from my dog Sam and my dad.
Aww.
My very funny looking dog, just a visual. German Shepherd had Basset Hound body, so you just saw this.
Wow.
He had worms, and we had to give him a pill. And my dad says, "Son, come over. We need to give Sam a pill." And I'm like, he says, my dad says, "How do we do it?" I'm like, my dad's asking my opinion. Oh my God, like this is a moment. You step into my Olympic moment. And I said, "Well, we'll hide it in Sam's food." And my dad says, No. Sam will feel it, and he'll spit it out. The way you give a dog a pill when it needs to take a pill is you wrap it in something sweet. And then it just becomes something delicious you swallow all day long. You don't need to talk about the pill. And I feel like activism in this world gets to be replaced with proactivism. No longer talking about being a problemist, but being a solutionist and create something delicious. Like there's a consciousness. Why don't we just replace it with deliciousness? Just like that chocolate.
Boom.
And if we can taste and wear the deliciousness of consciousness, and if we can taste it, if we can breathe it and be it, and the thoughts that we think and the words that we speak and the clothes we wear and all the different things in between, it becomes the pivot party. And it's just like, I want to be at that party.
Exactly.
And I want to be taking this man's yoga class, and I want to be living and breathing and being and eating, drinking that cacao and what have you. So I say that as a way of backdrop for how do we live our highest vibrational truth and invite others to do the same.
The best form of activism is attractivism. And I have to give credit to my great friend Nimai Delgado, who told me that for the first time, and I was like, that was definitely a golden nugget. And I feel strongly that the one way that we can really get people to invigorate their desire to step on their path of being the best version of themselves is to attract them into the play.
Yeah.
To say, hey, come over here. It's time to play. Come on. You know you want to play, because who doesn't want to have fun? Who doesn't want to have the most incredible tasting chocolate? Who doesn't want to have the beauty of wearing clothing that feels good, or the beauty of moving with a body that feels good, or the wonderful, incredible meal that makes them feel vibrant and uplifted and ready to go out there and enjoy the beauty of the day. And so that's really what I think it comes down to, is it's just attracting friends, family, anyone into the space of really tuning into what it feels like to feel good. And that's just the beauty of refining our own ability to relate.
So do you think that there's a whole segment of our audience that's just become anesthetized to this notion of what does it feel like to feel good? And come back into that. Come back into that.
Yeah,
Actually,
define it for you. Define it for you. What does it feel like to feel good? What does it feel like? What feels good for you? What brings you joy? What enlivens your heart? What brings you back to, oh, wow, the beauty of living? Because it's there. Each and every one of us has it. It's just a matter of having practices, asking yourself the questions, going to the places, stepping outside of your comfort zone. That's a big one, is that so many of us become so comfortable with being jaded, so comfortable with, looking at the outside world and saying, oh, that's not me. I can't fit in. I'm not part of that. I can't do yoga. That's all healthy. It's like, that's just your comfort zone. That's your fear talking, which is not allowing you to be right here. And I think that when we step outside of our fear, that is when the beauty of life continues to present us with opportunities to be more aware of where we're not free. And that is from the magic of Peter Crone. Peter Crone taught me that. Life will continue to present you with spaces that you are not free. You have to become aware of those spaces and say, oh, the reason I'm feeling uncomfortable in this space is because that's a space that I'm not free. How can I become even more free in that space? Whether it's a stretch in a yoga class, whether it's getting up earlier so that you can go and get your workout on, whether it's deciding to jump into that cold plunge, whether it's deciding to say hi to that beautiful girl, whether it's deciding to, jump up in the morning and do your meditation or drink your cacao. It's like those are all opportunities to say, okay, I feel the friction, I feel the resistance, but I'm going to overcome that. And I'm going to get to a space where I feel good about making that extra initiative that is going to give me the willpower to become more free.
And as Peter Crone, who sat in that chair, also shared, is that we can let go of the fact that we're here to be problem solvers. We are problem dissolvers. Nothing was there in the first place. It all comes back to, in the absence of all personal story, Peter Crone, all that's left is love.
That's the truth.
Man, to close out this incredible episode, I want to read something that I got a text from
Oh goodness.
a shout out from the one that brought you in.
Aw, mama.
This is Candy. Marvelous Marva. Does she have any other nicknames?
Yeah. Mama Ton.
What else
She's
you
going to
got?
be like, I can't believe you said that. Love you, Mama.
Aside from Andrew's incredible commitment to practice, business ventures, and self-work ethic, he is equally diligent in his passion to being a steward of this earth and all she embodies, including the land, people, and the fullness thereof. I gotta just ask you because this was cool. What is this?
Oh, wow. I drew that flower. I called it the flower of duality. It's just a black and white flower that I drew in an art class in Mr. Saxon's class. Incredible art teacher in either maybe 9th or 10th grade. And yeah, that was during a time when I was feeling very torn. In this decision to really excel in scholarly endeavors or to focus on more athletic endeavors. And I would say that it was I remember at the time of drawing that picture, it was like the blossoming of light, and the blossoming of life is always in congruence with this a multitude of opportunities, and they're all beautiful. And so it's not just black and white. You know, it's the squiggly lines and the bubbles and the circles and the many textures, but it is just black and white. Yes, no, love, fear, up, down, you know, this it's really just the continuous variation, the positive and the negative, and how we choose to paint our world is truly our choice.
That is living life golden.
Always.
Inner
Always and
peace, inner joy, inner Andrew Seven Seeley.
Wow, that one's a deep one.
This is good.
That was my headshot when I was like, I don't know, like 14 years old, doing backflips for Kids WB. Was in like a Osmosis Jones commercial or something.
That's
in Kids
amazing.
WB back in the day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe to complete and round this out, you put your hand over your heart with the golden thread. And for you,
I have a surprise for you.
you have a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Come on.
I want to read you a poem.
Oh,
Because I love poetry, and we talked a lot about really what I would say is the basis of love, which when we do have this connection to our five senses, and the sixth one, which I would feel is intuition, becomes even more apparent. That is when we get to express the seventh one, which I feel is love. And so, love is infinite beyond space and time. Love is the luster that brings life to shine. Love is the answer to every worthy question. Love is a compass that shows true direction. Love is the reason to lead with courage from the heart. Love is the reason that we express creativity that produces timeless art. Love is the spice that makes a memorable dish. Love is the wonder that resides within every child's wish. Love is shared when clear eyes meet with connection to the soul. Love is what we experience when we become whole. Love is all around us but can only be expressed from within. Love is what illuminates from the depths and brings glow to the skin. Love is why we fight when we know that things need to change. Love is what we die for when life's essence chooses to rearrange. Love is why life escapes our grasp without any reason. Love is the magic and the melody that brings harmony to every season. Love is the connector of past, present, and future. Love is the binder to this magical tale that threads every suture. Love is the author to all poems that need no mention. Love is the intention that transmutes all dimension. Love will always bring us together no matter time or place. And love is the reason that I will continue to put a smile on your face. This is so awesome.
You were golden, brother.
You're golden.
Wow. I have to share something with you. The reason why the very first thing that I wrote when One Golden Thread was going to be birthed was I wanted to create a 7-sense sensuous living company with the 5 senses we know, the 6th, which is intuition, and the 7th, which is self-love.
Well, you see, there you go.
Here we grow.
Here we grow. Thank you so much.
We got to share that poem with the world. That poem is that poem's going to rebalance the axis around the 108 spectrum, latitude and longitude.
Happy to share.
Wow.
Always and forever.
Extraordinary. Andrew 7, Seeley, thank you for being on Drops of Gold. Candy, thank you for being with us, dropping the journals and the mastery. Thank you for being with us. And this has been a blessing. And Ashe, this will not be our last all day.
Definitely. The magic continues.
Here we grow. Blessing, brother.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to share and for this opportunity to see how much you care. And I commend you for really just taking the time and connecting with such a deep-hearted golden thread.
Connecting us all.
Truth.
Thank you for joining us on Drops of Gold. We trust you found listening as delightful as we found creating. Now let me tell you, it takes a village to nourish a dream. Big shout outs to One Golden Thread for powering the pod, to co-producers Mark Shapiro, Josh Robertson, and Victory for bringing it all to life, Kat Benzova for her stunning guest portraits, and special thanks to artist Taib for featuring his electrifying new track, Departures. And infinite love to you for your curiosity and commitment to living in your highest vibrational truth. Aho! Here we grow. We are all designed to be reminded we are already golden inside. I'm Jeff Scult, wishing you a radically yes fuck yes day. Ashe.